Welcome everybody to the short seminar, webinar on custom reporting. We're going to split the webinar into three groups, as per usual, three sections. First section is just talking about the custom reports, what they do, why they've been created, and sort of thing you can do with it. Second section, we're looking specifically at a demo. So there's a live demo. Let's just a second. Jerry, I'm just going to mute you. So nice to see you, but you're just about to get muted. So the second section, we're looking more at a live demonstration. And on the third section, we're looking at just general Q&A. So kicking off with it, what are the reports? So if we have a look here, what are they? They're a way of doing repetitive tasks each month automatically. So you can, for example, define a report template for a client, say, for example, it's a hospital, and then every month just run that report off for the hospital. So it's saves you retyping it, saves a lot of cutting and pasting, and they were sprung out of the fact that we spent a lot of time doing reports on screen online and then cut and pasting them into the Word documents. To access them, you can try it right now, so you can try it maybe as we're talking if you want. If you go into your Enistic account, go into Reports and click on the Custom Reports tab, that's how you get into this section. Once you're in there, you're faced with a pop-up. It should pop up and say, look, you don't have any custom reports defined. Do you want to define one? And as I say, Jack will run through this all in a second for us. But you can define a new report. You can either do it free form. If you want to, you can certainly look at creating your own reports as you see fit. Or you can use one of our default templates, which we put together for you. Or you can take a default template and you can modify it yourself. So you can use that as a starting point and then build from there. We've added a new template here, Ruley Road FS, QE Global, one of our customers, good group of people, do LED lighting refits. And once you've got the report template established, you can then get into the editing of the report. So first of all, you create a report template. In a report template, you have sections, and then later on we'll run the actual sections and put data into them and actually produce the report itself. Within a section, you can have lots of different things. So each section, I think of it as almost like pages within Word. So each section's a page or group of pages. And the sections can be, for example, a title sheet, or they can be a content sheet, or they can be a graph of data, or they can be tables of figures, etc., etc. Whatever you see fit, really. Here you can see on the screen just one of the sections being a graph. Interestingly, if you look at the bottom of the screen, once you've created the report, you can then run the report multiple times with different time settings. So, for example, you can set up a report template for analyze hospital power use, and then you can say, rerun this report using last month's data. Now, that's pretty useful. Or you can set the date range to custom date ranges, but it gives you the ability to do the work once and then just reapply dates and reapply data into the report. And as I say, Jack will be running through all this in a second with a live demo. The other thing you can do in the system is do an export. So, for example, you've got, this is the report, bottom part of the report, custom report screen. And as I say, if you're trying this with your local PC as I'm talking, you should be able to see it at the bottom of the screen. Once you've got the report done as you see fit, once you've created the template, created the sections, and then run it with specific dates, you can then do two things. You can either export it to Word or export it to PDF. Personally, Word's good for me. I use Word 2013 and it works fine with that. And what it gives the ability is to then customize the report a little bit more for each individual user. So you can actually run a report off for the hospital, and you can actually edit it in Word and say, hey, have you looked at the lighting load here? I thought we were doing something about this. How's that project getting on, etc., etc. I'm going to skip through a few slides now. This is a little bit more detail, how to add a new section. Section name comes up here. They're the different components you can put in. With each component, you get some free-form, we call them smart tags. So if you take, for example, one of the charts at the bottom. So, for example, the what's that one there? Can I see what it is? Whether that's lighting use or general income use. What you can do is put into the report a graph, for example, of income that shows there. Then underneath that, you can use smart fields, which you can see just on the lower figure with the graph is just at the top. It says show available smart fields for this figure. You can actually fill in some of the text associated with the graph with smart fields. And they will be things like, you can see that the energy used over this time is, and then you can type a smart field in. You can choose it to say something like maximum energy shown on graph above. And there's a specific syntax for that, which is detailed on the web. Maybe, Jack, I have time to cover some of that, maybe you won't. But you can put in the smart fields so that you can actually pull in custom text sections which change every time you run the report. So your maximum energy use was $ maximum energy use for graph above, etc. And that then fills it in when you run the report. There are other sections in here. I'm just flicking through, just showing you some of the options you can get. I think having thought it through, I think the simplest thing we thought at this stage was not to sort of run through it on the PowerPoint. I mean, you get the idea basically. It's create a template, create the sections, run the report, export it, and then edit it and then send it. It is actually passed across to Jack. So Jack's going to do a 10-minute live demo, and then I'll take control again and we'll do some Q&A if anybody's got some Q&A based around that. So over to Jack.
Hello, hi. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to try to share my desktop now so we go through some of the functions.
So what I'll also do is I'll turn people's mics on in case you have any questions as we go along. Okay.
Right, so again, in order to access the custom report, we just go to the report section and get the custom directly between the templates. Now, pressing on Add New Template, you can either create a new one from scratch or download the default template, which will basically look through all the device categories preset on the particular account, check whether there are any smart meters associated with the particular device type, and create a section for each one of them. We can do that now. Well, actually, there is one. So the default template will have the name of the account. Whatever the name of the account is, that's the default template name. You can click on it. And in our case, here in the office, we have 5 device types with our smart meters are grouped into these. And each particular section will be populated with 2 main parts. First one will be a graph, which will present the energy consumption for particular device category, and the breakdown of each device highlighted, which really shows the percentage of energy consumption for this device. And so all of these components are customizable. We are using the same graph object that we would normally use in live view. So we can, if there's anything we want to change on the graph, whether it's a layout, colors, or styles, we can do that just as we would normally. So there are several different components that can be added to the report body. For each section, we can add graph. There's a new before and after graph as well, which can highlight the change in energy use, within specified date range. And yeah, well, we can add narratives, but really what we should focus on is the fact that we can get the display of data into this section here, and then we can export it to edit it further, add narratives, and so on. Okay. Then, so clicking on the name of the particular section will then open this section for us to edit. It can be later rerun with specified dates. So all the graphs and pie charts will adjust to a selected date range. And then it can be exported to PDF or Word document, whichever is more suitable for the purpose. Darrell has mentioned smart fields. So basically, there's quite a few different smart fields which can be added, which relate to a particular graph. So in this case, we can see that each graph will have its specified ID. This one is figure 3600. So by typing in figure 3600 minimum date time, it will show us the start of the graph period. If working max date time will show us the maximum value during the working hours, and so on. So I assume we will add more and more of these smart fields as we develop further. Sure. So the end result of the report will be either a PDF, which then is stored in the report template section, so we can see the previous reports which were populated for a particular account by clicking on Show Previous Reports, or a Word document, which will be directly downloaded onto your computer. I have generated some previously, which I could show you. Each report will have a title page. The images obviously can be replaced with whatever is necessary there. The report will also populate the table of contents. Each entry in the table of contents will relate to a header that will be inserted into the report body. So each header, regardless whether it's small or big, will then populate the table of contents and start a new page in the report. Okay, well, pie charts have additional functionality which allows us to, except for presenting the data in the form of a pie chart, we can then download the same data as a table which will highlight the consumption and costs. There's a button right above each pie chart which can be pressed, and then will populate a new area right below the pie, highlighting the kilowatt-hour consumption and cost in the currency selected in the account preferences. Now, this is a thing worth mentioning. All this graph data and pie charts, all the data here will relate directly to whatever are the account settings. So if we want to populate the graphs, we can do it by device category, by particular device or a device group. So if any option is necessary, we can set up a device group by going to Settings, General Groups, then group devices into a group and present it on graph. And then we can just export it to whichever extension we prefer. So what it gives really is instead of capturing screenshots throughout the Enistic system and jotting down the data that we would normally do, we can do all that in the reports, in the custom reporting facility, by simply adding components into the body. We can add a new section by providing its name. It will populate. We can then drag and drop the order of sections to, and this obviously will be later on downloaded in the order we selected. you click on a section, all the components are added through the Edit menu. We can add graphs and select the properties by pressing on the Gears button in the top corner, just as we would in the live view. The smart fields will obviously adjust to whatever time period is specified when the report is run. And when we click on Run Reports, we can also edit sections further just for this particular report. Every changes won't take effect until we press the Save button. So if we would like to add a new header, which as I mentioned previously, we'll add a new page. We need to press Save to actually publish these changes into the report section.
All right, Jack. Look, I think you've taken us through the guts of it there. You certainly sort of given us a flavour for it. I think that the simplest way of doing it is for people to try it out for themselves, I suspect. So, you know, in terms of live demo, why don't I open the mics up now and see if there's any questions from people. And you know, as I say, I think it's all live on the site. So if there's any questions, we can certainly take those.